everyone, welcome back to the channel for the final episode of Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. It has just been announced on Twitter today that Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2 is actually not the finale after all. We're actually getting a Final Season Part 3 in the year of our Lord 2023. So another year of waiting. It is going to take 3 years to finish out the final season of Attack on Titan, but with this episode, in my opinion, this was absolutely thematically brilliant. We finally got to solve the rumbling. We finally got to see the events that led up to Eren, dismembering himself and poking his eye out in his conversation with Historia. This episode was absolutely phenomenal, absolutely incredible, and I loved pretty much everything about it. This season of Attack on Titan was just so freaking good. It was 12 episodes of, in my opinion, near perfection. So let's go ahead and get right into this episode. We recently just hit 1,300 followers on Twitter. I would appreciate it if you guys go follow me there, because once I hit 1,500 followers, we'll be doing a massive Attack on Titan themed giveaway, and I promise you, you do not want to miss out on this giveaway. So follow me over there on Twitter at SeaTacticsYT. This episode starts off with them on a boat to Marley, likely just one of the many boats they've confiscated from Eldian and Marleyan conscripts, but Mikasa believes that Eren hasn't changed in all of this, while everyone around him kind of believes he has, and you could easily see why that is, because his outward demeanor, Eren is totally different from than he was in Season 1. He just seemed much more of an outgoing sort of personality with lots of, well, I wouldn't say lots of charisma, but more charisma than what he has currently. This season, I would say Eren has been more of that kind of weirdo, quiet, emo kid in many ways. He is just sort of out there. You don't really know what he's thinking. You don't really know what he has planned. He's quite mysterious, and he probably listens to a lot of punk rock from bands you've never heard of. But I like how Mikasa says she believes that Eren has not changed. So what did Mikasa see in Eren to begin with? This is a really cool statement by Mikasa, because it shows that Mikasa is actually very observant of things that are around her. She's not just, some brain dead soldier or something like that. She realizes that no, Eren has been the same in terms of his goals and his actions. They all fit. They all make sense in the grand scheme of who Eren is as a person and as a character. I'm gonna actually make a video about this in this upcoming week, about how Eren hasn't changed, delving more into why that is. But I just think this is a really brilliant move by Mikasa, and it shows that she's much more in tune with what's going on around her. But this episode had a lot of Sasha in it, because we all love Sasha, and I'm happy that she made her way into this season of the series. It really did have a huge blow with her passing away in this show. I've already talked about it at length. I won't bore you again with the details, but Sasha she's just a treat in this episode. She gets ice cream and she seems so happy eating something new, and she almost like worships the ice cream of like, what is this holy blessing that has been bestowed upon me? I will cherish it for the rest of my life, and then, eats it, of course. I mean, it's just totally Sasha. So the Survey Corps do what they do best. They go surveying. It's really fun to see them doing that again, but as well, they see a car and they're like, what is that, a horse? And Haji says, hello, car. I like how Levi says, if we don't stop them, they're gonna start feeding carrots to the car. And Onyan Capone is like, what are you talking about? No, oh God, they are. They're actually buying the carrots. You can't make that up. That is so hilarious. I also like as well how John was embarrassed by everyone staring at them, and he thought he was being very self-conscious about him being a country bumpkin, which is really cute in my opinion. And then we see Mikasa, speaking of cute, holy crap, is this the first time we've seen Mikasa like this? I mean, I'm trying to think. We usually see her with the scarf, and the survey gear, or just in her regular, garb, which is usually some type of really bland clothing, but she actually looks super adorable and wholesome in this episode, and she even has a lot of moments. And I'm trying to think how many times we've seen Mikasa in these sort of wholesome moments that shows that, yeah, oh yeah, by the way, Mikasa is adorable and she's cute. I'm trying to think. At the end of season 3 is one, sorta, but definitely. I think that's... Someone help me in the comments below. I think that's it, right? Cute Mikasa, that's a rare sighting right there. But throughout the whole thing, Eren seems really off. And Mikasa makes a mental note because she's sort of like recounting her experiences of this time. That's kind of the lens that we're viewing this through. She says how they never really noticed how Eren was, and maybe they didn't want to notice how Eren was. And yeah, it really did seem like Eren had a lot on his mind during this time. This may be the first time that we've seen Eren act this kind of mysterious and brooding way that we're kind of used to with this season. And this may be the first time that they've interacted with Eren quite like that. I know what we saw at the end of season 3 was somewhat similar to that, but it didn't wholly see like that because it really felt like at that point in the series, at the end of season 3, it was more like his realization of like, oh, we made it to the ocean. All that means is now we have to fight an enemy. I don't know. This was really interesting, and I'm just super fascinated by Eren's character in this season and how other people perceive him. I think we've had enough of how we as the audience perceive him, how the show perceives them, and how his character has been developed, but we haven't had nearly enough of how other characters are perceiving Eren. I mean, we had a little bit in season 4, part 1, but it's always fascinating to me to see how people try to parse how Eren acts and try to really understand what the hell's going through this guy's mind. And honestly, we don't know. There's some hints that they've dropped throughout that something's going on with Eren, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. So after Sasha and everyone tries ice cream for the first time, Mikasa tries to share ice cream with Eren, and it was just absolutely adorable. But anyways, a clown calls Levi a child, and yeah, that was a thing. But I also find it interesting how Eren remembers ice cream from his father's memories and how Eldians rarely ever get to eat ice cream. That's such a really cool small world building part that shows that, yeah, Eldians don't even get to eat certain kinds of food, especially ice cream, which is just freely available out on the streets for anybody to pick up and eat. That's such a really cool, interesting world building moment right there that they didn't have to put in, but they did. So a child steals Sasha's coin purse. This is also another really cool world building moment here. And this is where we really get to see how awful people treat Eldians in Marley. So some of the things that they suggest to do to this kid, because they've jumped to a conclusion, mind you, about this child, that he's stolen something from Sasha. So their first is tossing him into the sea. Pretty brutal, pretty unfair. Another was smashing his hand. Very barbaric. Another one, hanging him for people to see his body dangling. They don't want to set an example through just, embarrassing the kid or calling the kid out on stealing. They want to freaking maim and torture this kid. That's absolutely just totally uncalled for, even in this day and age where, they treat Eldians a certain way. But at the same time, it just goes to show how lowly Marley treats the Eldians. And Marley treats the Eldians, by the way, the most progressive in the entire world of Attack on Titan. Go back to episode 4 or 5 of season 4, part 1, and Gabby talks about how Marley actually treats the Eldians really well, at least comparatively to all of the other countries and nations on the planet. And then you see this? That's insanity to me. You almost can't fathom it. I mean, they're just paranoid that this boy is a subject of Ymir, and you see the boy, he's absolutely in distress. So Levi covers for the boy that Sasha and this boy are actually brother and sister, and that the kid just took the coin purse, and that's it. Then, they escape, and obviously the mob doesn't believe them, but they run away with the kid anyways. And at the end, Levi gives the kid his coin purse, and it was just a really telling scene, in my opinion, of the people of Marley and how just savage they are when you see somebody that's lower than you and you can pick on them, so you do it anyways because you'll get away with it. You're punching down, you're not punching up, so it's like, why should anybody else care? It's kind of a reflection of reality in many ways, sadly. So at a meeting with Azumabito, another world building moment here is that she tells them that it actually used to be a symbol of status to have the blood of Ymir running through you and some sort of heritage through that. But now, after the fall of Eldia, not so much. You're kind of hunted down, so to speak, and put into internment zones and all this nonsense. But as for what they're here to do, meet with Azumabito, what Paradise Island decides to do is that they decide to observe this from a distance to gauge whether they're going to announce they're going to seek peace or not. And even then, it's going to be really difficult for them to form an alliance with Marley, because even though Marley is the most progressive country in the world when it comes to treating Eldians correctly, I suppose, if you want to call it that, it's really not an ideal situation. They're kind of backed into a corner, obviously. So because of that, they're going to tackle this from the angle of just really waiting and seeing what other people do before they make their move. Rather smart. While this is happening, Eren slips out, but is closely followed after by Mikasa. And Mikasa and Eren observe this family living out in tents and how Eren really relates to their struggles of their freedoms being taken away from them, and says that, these people are just like them. And this leads to the moment that I think everybody was honestly looking forward to in the entirety of Attack on Titan, if you're an Eren and Mikasa shipper. Eren asks Mikasa why she has taken care and looked out for him so much. And Mikasa, she really can't say anything. She barely gets out the word that, well, she sees him as family, because they're interrupted with drinks. And as this is happening, Eren says, perfect timing. I wonder what that's all about. Even Mikasa's like, huh? Perfect timing? Because as soon as that happens, all their friends show up. Sasha, Connie, John, all of them. And they kind of all let loose and have fun. This scene is fascinating in so many ways. You have so much cool stuff in here. You have how Mikasa doesn't really still realize her own feelings for Eren this far into it. And I think she does. I think she realizes she actually really adores and loves Eren as a person and as a romantic individual. But I think at the same time, she's also trying to protect him. She's also trying to be his bodyguard. In a weird sense, it's almost, kind of like there's two different sides of Mikasa. We're not getting into Reiner territory here, but she's trying to probably distinguish these two sides of, do I love him or do I protect him? It's very, very confusing. And I can see why, when asked a question like that, the answer Mikasa would give, because I think I would be like Mikasa in that situation. I would go, yeah, you are family, because that is the truth. They are family. But she also loves him. And realizing that part is much more difficult when you're in the situation that Mikasa is in. And then there's the stuff with the perfect timing line. I mean, it really just feels like Eren is so self-aware of what's going on in this moment of like, oh yes, of course we would get interrupted right here at this moment. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of brutal in many ways to Mikasa. It's a little unfair to her situation that she has to, bounce between these two positions. But hey, is what it is. I don't think she answered the wrong way in this situation. Not one bit. So they go see an Eldian representative basically throw Eldia and Paradis right under the bus. They basically say, oh, we Eldians here on Marley, we're fine. We're just being persecuted for, our bloodline. We don't have anything involved with the subjects of Mir. Those Paradis dudes, on the other hand, yo, those people are the devils. We should go and murder them, kill them all, and delete them from existence. That's basically what went down in this scene, which made Eren leave pretty much immediately and disappear for the next however many years it was. This is the moment that Eren turned and said probably to himself, yeah, maybe genocide is the only option that we have left in this situation, is to fight back, because you have to think Paradise Island probably can't afford to fight a conventional war. So this is another theme in Attack on Titan once again represented, where now we understand that Eren probably felt like he had no choice in the decision he had to make. That being said, is it the right one? Well, it's genocide. Probably not. But is it the right one, knowing what he knows and coming to the conclusions that he came to? Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. So we get into the second part of this episode, which in my opinion is just as good as the first part. This episode was phenomenal. Anyways, we see the scene where Yelena told Eren of Zeke's plan, and Eren tells Flock that they'll follow the plan only in appearance, and that the MPs plan to actually feed Zeke to Historia, and that really the only options that are left for Eren and them is to fight or run. Though Historia, she's not dumb. She knows what's going on here, and she wants to go with the plan basically that leads to everyone being the most happy as they can be. And for Historia, actually, for her, she's fine because Eren defending her and the rest of her friends defending her and the military defending her, that was enough for her. She's totally satiated in her life at this point, but it ain't for Eren. No, not in the very least. Eren feels like the only plan that he has left is to bring ruin to the world, to destroy everything. And Historia actually really disagrees with this plan because she brings up a great point. Not everyone outside of Paradis is evil, just like his mother, which should be kind of an argument killer at that point. I mean, Historia is absolutely right. And what's important here is Eren says that he knows that. But Eren believes that the only way to put an end to this cycle is to basically remove the history of hatred from the world. Now, I don't have to tell anybody here why that reasoning is a little flawed, because as stated pretty much through fucking facts, every 100 years or so, history just keeps repeating itself. We keep going through cycles as humans. It's just the way it is. That's why we keep history. That's why we write shit down and keep a record of things, so we can reference history and make sure that we don't repeat those same patterns and mistakes. So why? Why again is it the right thing to remove history? I mean, that just doesn't make much sense in my head, but, Eren is the one carrying out genocide here. So to be fair, Eren, he doesn't want to see Historia's children go in this cycle of basically eating each other, but at the same time, Historia cannot stand by and let Eren rightfully commit genocide. I mean, Historia's right to say something like this, and Eren even suggests, hey, I'll erase your memory if it's too much for you to endure. Which, did he erase her memory? As we saw in part 1, she seemed kind of, not like the Historia we usually knew. She seems kind of just, in a rocking chair, rocking back and forth. Now, is that her realizing all of the stuff that Eren is about to do, or is this a situation where her memories were erased? Who knows? But I love the line where Eren says, "You're the girl that saved me that day. You are the worst kind of girl." And that harkens back to the end of season 3 where Eren and Historia touch and he remembers everything. So I think what he's saying to Historia there is, you awakened all of those memories within me, and you awakened the power of the founding titan within me, and I hate the fact that you did that, because now I have to go through with what I'm about to go through. Whew, I cannot imagine the weight on Eren's shoulders. We also figure out that there's no such thing as the Ackerman gene or disease or whatever. It seems to be, well, not exactly not real, but the way that Eren was describing it was not real. That doesn't exist. But what does exist is that when in a survival situation and an Ackerman's survival instinct kicks in, they gain some sort of really powerful ability to fight, which we've seen that before. We saw that in season 1 when Mikasa was about to die. She was about to give up, and she didn't, because her body just decided to start moving on its own. That is the Ackerman's survival instinct that Zeke is talking about. And Zeke says she likes you so much that she would snap Titan's neck in half for you. Ugh. That is strong love right there. I need to find me a girl that would do that for me. That's the love that never dies. So we see it. Eren cuts off his leg, pokes his eye out, and all he is doing and thinking about during this is, I've got to make sure my friends live long and happy lives. And once again, it goes to show that Eren has not changed throughout the entirety of this series, and that he will go to these insane amounts of lengths to make sure that his friends live a long, happy, and fruitful life, which is why he broke down and cried after Sasha died, because he realized he couldn't provide that for everyone. Eren is such a fascinating character in this season of Attack on Titan. He is easily one of my favorites in the entire series, maybe my most favorite, and it's because of stuff like this. It's because for most of the series, you don't really know what he's thinking, but when you get that glimpse into actually what Eren is thinking, it all starts to click. It all starts to show more color about this character, father and what's going on inside of his head. And what's going on inside of his head seems to be absolute madness and chaos. It feels like he doesn't even know what he's doing from time to time, because on one hand, he's trying to save his friends. On the other, he's committing genocide. Two totally separate personalities almost at that point, you would think. Like, how does one separate those two things of, I want to fight for freedom and I will trample on anyone's freedom because you try to take other people's freedoms away? Where is that man when that man's also committing genocide against people that are just like his mother? So fascinating, so interesting. And that's what makes this season of, in my opinion, Attack on Titan so compelling, and what makes Eren Yeager such a compelling character. And then we finally get to see at the very end of the series this, oh my god, this final part in this season of Attack on Titan is so good. We see Marley's navy, really the world's navy, with the biggest guns they have in the world right now. They fire into what is essentially the freaking rumbling, a unstoppable army of wall titans, and some of them are actually destroyed. This is what's really cool. We've set this up in Final Season Part 1 about how anti-titan weaponry is actually really formidable. It makes me wonder what would happen in 50 to 100 years with more advanced weaponry, how the world's just armies would fare against the wall titans. I think they would actually stand a really good chance, because they show a wall titan being taken out by one of the cannons. I mean, that's just really interesting to me. That's really cool. That shows how far anti-titan weaponry has come, but as well just how titans could, in a way, become almost redundant and obsolete in an era with more advanced weaponry. But it ain't enough. Marley's military and the world's navy, technically, they all fall. I think that's funny. Did you guys notice that? There's an alliance on the other side between Marley, or what's left of Marley, and the Survey Corps in Paradise Island, whereas everyone else has banded together to fight the rumbling. It seems everybody has banded together in some form or fashion. I think that's interesting in of itself. But, I mean, they all lose. It's not enough, and the soldiers start running away, and they point and they say, it's the Attack Titan. And there he is. It's Eren Yeager as not the Attack Titan, but the founding Titan. This just gave me goosebumps. It's giving me goosebumps right now. We have waited so long for this part of the story to happen, to see the rumbling, to see how, just the scale of it, the horrifying nature of it, and to finally see the way Eren's founding Titan looks. That is, I mean, this was so beautifully done. Mappa absolutely has outdone themselves with this season of Attack on Titan, and I'm just so happy. I'm just so excited. This series is one of my favorite series. This is the series that got me back into anime. This is technically the series that got me into doing anime YouTubing in the first place, so I'm very grateful and thankful for it. And I'm so glad this is not a Promised Neverland Season 2. I'm just so glad it's not. We're actually getting a studio that's taking their time to adapt what is the most important final seasons in popular modern anime in a little bit, a decent little bit. So I'm glad we're getting a faithful adaptation, a good adaptation, and I'm glad people are, taking their time trying to make that a reality for us. So that was a long video. Holy crap. But I want to say something before I go. But I do want to give you guys a massive thank you before we close out this video, because for many of you, you won't be watching my channel until final season comes around again, and I realize that. So I want to thank you guys for just sticking with me throughout the last, a little over 12 months at this point on the channel, watching and supporting my AOT or TPN content or Demon Slayer content, whatever it is. And I don't know, I just appreciate it. This has been a whole lot of fun, because if you guys didn't know, through the summer of last year, my channel went down in the dumps. My channel actually died, and I was very depressed over it, and I went through a very dark period in my life. But I turned the ship around. I put in the hard work, and for the last, 6-7 months or something like that, I've been trying to get back to this, trying to get back to viewers, actually, seeing my channel, putting in the work, putting in the research, putting in the time and effort to see what you guys enjoy the most about this channel, and then provide you that content and provide it to the best of my ability. And we've went through quite a journey this season. We've went from, just doing reaction styled videos to breakdown analysis to lore guides, and even at one point running into the Jaegerists. And I don't mean the kind from the show, I mean the real life, like really bad people kind of Jaegerists, the toxic side of the AOT fandom. We've done it all this season, and it's been very remarkable, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I do want to say before you leave, before you go, if you could, just drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you appreciated my videos throughout the season and you want to see more of what I can produce and what I can put into, especially next year with Final Season Part 3. And as well, if you want to share down in the comments below what content you guys want to see from me during the AOT drought, so to speak. Any other series you want me to cover, Jujutsu Kaisen, more Demon Slayer content, Chainsaw Man, One Piece, anything. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what you want to see. And if you didn't know, I'm going to leave a whole bunch of playlist links down below. I've done series on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hunter x Hunter, the Fate series. You guys can go check that out. It'll be in the description below. So with that being said, if you enjoyed all of my Attack on Titan videos, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to continue following the channel. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.